Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL Podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly.
Hi, and welcome back to the DCL Podcast, your podcast to help you cruise a little smarter. I am not Lake, I am Christy, and I am your host today. I am hosting solo, but not doing the show solo. So today we have a first-time trip report. I love first-time Disney cruise trip report, so let's just get started and welcome CJ to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
CJ is one of these Disney friends that I've met online now, and we've talked for years, and then did the whole, I feel like it's the attrition of a Disney social media friendship. You eventually meet up and we have had dinner together. So we're just watching each other's children grow at this point online. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
What is your Disney background? Because obviously you have one.
Yeah, so my Disney history is long and varied. I was born and raised in Southern California for 30 years. So, I was an annual pass holder at Disneyland for that entire time, with the exception of the 4 years that I was a cast member at Disneyland. I worked guest services at the hotels. And then COVID hit, our lives kind of turned upside down. My husband switched to fully remote work, and we said, well, we don't need to live in California anymore. So we moved to Florida, and we live, 15 minutes away from Disney property, and we're pass holders here. And I consider myself kind of an expert on both coasts, and I miss Disneyland, but I love Walt Disney World too.
So tell us about picking your first cruise.
Well, let me preface this by saying this is my second Disney cruise.
Oh, right.
My first one was the year 2000. So I didn't have any say in that. All I remember is making slime and having fun on Castaway Cay. So this trip was 12 years in the making for us, for our family. It just got pushed back for a variety of reasons. And, my secret plan the whole time was to make sure that my husband had a great time so that we could go on a cruise again. So I wanted to pick something that had a little bit of everything. So we chose an itinerary that had a day at sea, a day at Lookout, and a day at Castaway. So we could kind of see a little bit of everything and decide what we liked and didn't like, so that when we book a future cruise, we know exactly what we're looking for. We also pulled our kids out from school, and we didn't want them gone too long. So 4 nights seemed to be appropriate for us.
It always works if you can pull your kids out. Not everybody can do that, and some people's schedules wouldn't allow them to travel when school is not in session, but it does make it for a little bit calmer of a cruise in general. So that's always good. Why don't you tell us, who did you cruise with?
So it was me, my husband, Devin, our son, Felix, who is 7, and our daughter, Violet, who's 4. And then in a separate stateroom, my parents, Steve and Cheryl, were with us. They were sailing concierge, so that was really neat. My in-laws were supposed to go, and they had a 1-bedroom concierge room, which I was really looking forward to seeing, but my father-in-law broke his foot and 3 weeks before the cruise, and they canceled. So yeah, it was just the 6 of us, and it was a really great time.
I love that. So you mentioned that you picked a cruise so your husband can be excited and that goes to both of the Disney destinations. But how did you pick the ship?
I think looking at the dates and the itineraries, the dream just happened to line up with exactly what we were looking for. Also, our cruise was a Monday through Friday instead of over a weekend. So I noticed the price was a little bit lower. So that just kind of worked out in our favor. And I didn't really care what ship we were on. I just wanted to do a cruise because I know the experience is great on any ship. So
yeah, absolutely. And the Dream is a great ship. That class of ship, it really is nice. It has a good splash pad. It has the slides, and it has adult only spaces that are really great. You've already mentioned you live in Orlando. So how did you guys get to the port or get to Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, so we drove down Sunday, the day before. I think if it had been just my husband and I, we probably would have been fine driving in day of. But for me, with the kids who are not used to being in the car for a long time, I'm like, we should probably just go a day in advance. And our son, for your listeners who don't know, he is autistic and ADHD and several other things. He was very anxious about the cruise. We started prepping him over a year in advance. And until we were on the ship, he didn't understand, we're going to sleep in a hotel room on the ship and there's restaurants here and stuff. He did not get that. So driving down a day early kind of let him like get his nerves settled a little bit. We saw the cruise ships off in the distance. We're like, oh, look, there's a ship. That's kind of what we're going to be on. If you have kids, the first night in a hotel is always really, really tricky. So, our son was awake 3 times overnight. He kept asking, is it morning yet? Is it morning yet? At like midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m. We're like, go back to sleep, please go back to sleep. So we got that like rough night out of the way and got everybody kind of settled in. So that made sense. And then we just, drove our car over to port and left it there for the week.
Your particular sailing was unfortunately one of the ones out of Fort Lauderdale that had some issues with boarding.
Yeah.
So your boarding wasn't as smooth. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so our boarding time was 12:45 p.m. That morning, we had a sit-down breakfast. I had to run to CVS to get a couple things. There's like a plane viewing area at the Fort Lauderdale airport. You can like be right up against the runway. We took the kids there, watched planes take off, and we had an early lunch at Chick-fil-A. And then we're like, well, we might as well just go park the car. And we're kind of glad we got there when we did, because there was a line to like approve the cars to get in like through the little gate thing. And then we had to, figure out exactly which parking structure to go to and then drop off our bags. And then, okay, we got to like exit the bag drop off area and then park our car over here. We got to go to the bathroom, find the elevator, do this, do that. So by the time we got to the port, like after that whole process, it was like 12:25-ish. So like, 20 minutes before our port arrival time. And there's just lines like crazy. And there's people like corralled in the parking lot. And I'm like, what are these people doing like in this holding area across the street in the parking lot? So we finally asked a cast member and they're like, oh, 12:45, you're all the way down here. We're at the end of the building, end of the line. And we did not get on the gangway to board until 1:35. I looked back at my time. So it literally took like an hour from start to finish. Line outside was long, and then another line outside that kind of switched back, a line inside that switched back, another line inside that switched back, and then we could finally see the check-in area and it was switch backing over there too. So yeah, it was really rough. And my daughter did fine. Like I knew she had to go to the bathroom and I kept asking her like, do you need to go potty? No, no, no. And then all of a sudden it was an emergency. She had to go. But thankfully the people who were behind us in line, like my husband waited and like let everybody pass, but they saw us and they're like, you can have your spot back. It's fine. It's like, oh, thank you. But my son, like he really struggled. He was getting super anxious. Like, when are we getting on the ship? Why aren't we there yet? Where's the ship? Are they going to leave without us? Da, 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 da. Like all these questions. For your listeners who don't know, there's a program called the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program. It's not like super recognized here at Disney parks. MCO, the airport, recognizes it. But if you see people with these green lanyards with sunflowers on it, it means that person has a hidden disability. So like looking at my son, you wouldn't know that he has any disabilities, but that sunflower lanyard, tells staff like, hey, there's something going on here. He might need extra help, whatever. And I noticed, and we travel with it. We usually tie it around a back because he doesn't like wearing things around his neck. And I noticed in one of the windows on the port, it said like, we support the Hidden Disability Sunflower Program. But there was no services there, like nothing. I asked it was a cast member that I asked. I saw a sign that said like guests needing assistance. I said, oh, is that for people with disabilities? And they're like, no. And I said, okay, my son's like really having a hard time. She came back with stickers, like 2 stickers. I'm like, this kid is not into stickers, but thanks for trying. It was just weird that they don't offer anything. And, I'm not placing the blame on Disney or on the port. Something needs to happen. Like if the lines are going to be that long, something needs to happen.
Well, and I think your particular sailing was one of the ones where their system was down for a while. And you wouldn't have known that your line was going to be so bad, but is to just get a later port arrival time, which is tricky because then what do you do all day? And look at, you already had to fill so many hours as it was. But if you really pick one of the last times, you usually just walk into an empty building and it's empty everywhere type of thing.
Right. I had heard that. I'm very, very glad we went to Chick-fil-A beforehand. Like standing there in line, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, we're not gonna have lunch on the ship. Like we're gonna get some ice cream and that's it. I kept telling them like, hey, what kind of ice cream do you want? I was trying to like hype them up for that. So, it like kind of worked out. Once we were on the ship, everything was fine. We were at like port 4, I think, and the Destiny was at number 2. Or we were at 2 there, 4, something. They were right next to us. And I don't know if it was captain, somebody came on and said like, hey, we're delaying our departure because there's still people waiting to get on. So like, that's how backed up it was. So that's why the Destiny went out before us. They had everybody on and Ours didn't.
You make it through the check-in, but you make it onto the ship. What was everybody's first impression?
Well, so I had been texting my parents because they, being concierge, they're the first on the ship. They have a special lunch, whatever. So I'm telling them, and my kids didn't know that grandma and grandpa were coming. They might have caught on to it, but they didn't like overtly say, oh, we can't wait to see grandma and grandpa. So I have been texting my parents saying like, hey, we're at this point in line. We're at this point in line. Where are you guys? Like, if you could see us, come on, that would be great. So as we're like the fifth family, they're announcing people or whatever. And I could see my dad like hiding behind a pillar, like peeking at me. I'm like, oh, good. They're going to see us. And so, they announce, oh, the Clark family, and everybody applauds. And my parents like kind of jump out towards the end of the line and they're like, Felix, Violet. And they're all excited, ran up and gave them hugs. I think for my kids, especially Felix, seeing a familiar face that's not just mom, dad, sister, that was nice. It meant he had more people to go to when he was having a hard time and whatever. He's like, oh, okay, we have a little bit of home here with us, From there, our rooms were ready right away. So my parents went with us to our room and they were staying in a veranda room, and we had room 7504, which is at the very front of the ship. And it's like a corner room. So it's bigger than normal with a little porthole out there. And the kids were so excited. Like anytime we stay at a hotel room, they're so excited. But I think this was even more special because they could look out the window. They saw the Destiny right there. And they really liked, looking out, trying to find land when we were at sea. Fun. It was fun seeing that. And then we went to my parents' room to check out their veranda and stuff. And from there, we kind of split ways, got the kids registered for the kids club, and hung out in there for a while.
Going back to your room for a minute, how did you feel that room worked out for you guys?
I really liked it. When we were looking to book, we were looking at either one of those front corner rooms or one of the, I think they call them like secret suites, where there's like two portholes and they're kind of like divided in half. Because I know, standard cruise line rooms are pretty small and our child needs some space to like be himself. I was really happy with our room choice and I would do it again, but I also want to try the other type that we were considering. I know my husband liked having the extra space. Each kid had their own bed, which was great. It was perfect. Really, I really liked it.
That room doesn't have a curtain, right? To separate because of the way the room is divided up. So that would be the one thing that would be different versus basically maybe a standard ocean view, is that there would be a curtain dividing the sleeping space, but you get extra space in the room.
Yes.
So
yes. And honestly, like most hotel rooms don't have a curtain. So it's not anything different that we're used to.
So you registered for the kids club. Did you go to the sailway? Oh, you would have had the muster station.
We had the muster drill. That was hard on our son too. And I think the side of the ship we were on, it was really sunny. And so it was really hot. And they were like, scooch in. And I was like, oh, I'm like ready for dinner. And like, I'm going to have to change because I'm so sweaty, And then people were late. So many people were late. I was like, why? Like, this is so disrespectful. Just show up. That's the one thing you have to do. But yeah, once that was done, my daughter and I, Violet and I, went to the sailaway. I knew it was going to be too much on Felix. Felix just wanted to like relax in the room, have some quiet time for a little bit. And my husband, he's, I said I'm very like a go, go, go type person. He is very not. So he was more than happy to go like lay down in bed and just relax. He was totally fine with that. So my daughter, she's really into the characters and stuff. We stood on deck 12, I think it was, the higher deck, to watch the sailaway party because I don't really like crowds. I don't want to be around a gazillion people. My parents came to watch it with us. They brought me a canned Diet Coke from the concierge lounge, which is really nice of them. And yeah, she loved it. She was like dancing and clapping and smiling, and it was really cute.
Aw, living her best little life.
She was, yes.
And then you had dinner, basically.
Yeah, dinner the first night was at Animator's Palette. We had the first dining, which works out for our kids. I think the later dining would have been very hard on them. My parents went to Apollo and they raved about it. But yeah, the first dinner, this was on us. We forgot Felix's headphones in the room. And it's loud, yes. Dining is very loud. We learned that the first night. He was super excited though because he could get grilled chicken at every restaurant, and grilled chicken is like his favorite food. He doesn't like going to McDonald's because they don't have grilled chicken. Yeah, so he got grilled chicken and broccoli but anyways, so that night I ordered 3 appetizers because they all sounded so good and an entree, and we were just trying to like console him during dinner basically. One thing that did work in our favor is both kids had the Magic Band Plus or 2.0 or whatever they call it, and it lit up during dinner, and they both really liked that. They're like, whoa, the lights are changing. And that distracted him for a little bit. So that was good. And once we got our dessert, and he was saying, no, I don't want ice cream. And then he saw Violet get a Mickey bar and us have our desserts. He was like looking around, like, and then our waiter came back and I was like, I think he'd like an ice cream. And I asked him, like, what flavor do you want? He said vanilla. It's like vanilla ice cream for the kid. And, you know, they had seen that he was having a hard time. We had those 2 extra chairs at the table for my parents who weren't there. And he was kind of like laying down across my lap. And they said, is there anything we can do for him to like make him feel more comfortable? I was like, I don't think so. Like, he's just got to work through this. So our server team was really great with him and really patient and everything. So,
oh, I love that. Not that he was having a hard time, but that they were so kind about it. DCL servers are something special.
They really are. And my dad has food allergies to onion and garlic, and it's not just onion and garlic. It's like onion powder, green onion, garlic powder, like in any shallots, you know, any form you can think of. And they were so good with him to work with that. Yeah.
So then after dinner, what did you guys get up to?
Violet wanted to go to the kids club. So we took Violet to the kids club. I don't remember what we did with Felix. I think we took him back to the room to relax a little bit. And then my parents and we wanted to see the Golden Mickeys. I knew my son was not going to handle that very well. So he and Devin, I don't really know what they did, to be honest. I think they went back to the room and watched WALL-E, which was his favorite movie. Having Disney on demand on the TV was really nice. We watched WALL-E every single night, just like at home. Anyway, so we went to the Golden Mickeys, and that was really, really good. I wasn't really sure what to expect. Like, obviously, you know, I hear Disney shows are amazing on the cruise line, and I remember from my cruise when I was a kid, I remember liking the Broadway shows, but I don't remember the visuals of them really at all. Yeah, I was really impressed. And I loved that Snow White was incorporated in it. And I loved the set for that because it was like the multi-plane camera effect, but on the stage. And she's my favorite princess. So that was really cool. And the kids dressed as dwarfs was so cute. But yeah, with my parents being concierge, you know, they had the option to go early, like get first pick of seats. And they said, but if you're going, like, well, we'd rather sit with you and Violet. And so they got there before we did, but they saved a couple seats for us. We were in the back section in the very back row, but we were center. So it was a good seat. And they also got free popcorn. So as soon as we sat down, Violet like took the cup and ate all the popcorn. They're like, okay, thanks, Violet. So that was fine. But yeah, it was a really, really good show. I was super impressed.
Yeah. And in concierge, they could have gotten more free popcorn. Like they can go up to just the popcorn thing with their key card and just grab more, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a nice perk.
So Violet in the kids club was in the 3 to 4 group the whole time. How did she talk about that at all?
She has told us her favorite part was kids club. And I'll ask, when I picked her up, I was like, what did you do? And she's like, I don't know. You do know, but you just don't want to talk about it. I know that she made slime. She still talks about the slime she made with Stitch. And I know that there was a dance party with Pluto. And she came back one day with like a butterfly craft that she had made or something. So I'm guessing they were probably in like the Pixie Hollow section doing something with that. She didn't really talk about it too much, except that she had fun. Felix went, I think, twice, maybe 3 times on his own. The first time, apparently he stood by the door, like asking for us the whole time. The second time he lasted a little longer, and I think he did something, but I don't know what exactly he did. I mean, he's got a lot of, you know, sensory issues, and it took him a few times of like putting his hands in the little washy thing to like get used to that. He did not want to use the bathroom in there, just a lot going on for him. But he did ask to go twice on his own. Progress, it's a little bit. One of the times that he went, I think it was the second night, the night we were at sea, my husband and I were like, what do we do? Like, the kids are gone. What do we do? So we went to trivia and it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, that is always, you got to love that moment.
I think if Violet was 5, so out of that guided area, and they could be together, I think it would be better. But she turns 5 in a month, so yay.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so was that the end of the first day?
Yeah, we all crashed pretty hard in the room that night. It was really rocky that night, though. Really, really rocky. And the next morning, I don't know if it was the captain, somebody announced that they were going way faster than normal to avoid 10 to 12 foot swells. And we were only in like 5-foot swells at the most. And it was still like, and remember, we were at the front of the ship, so we were feeling it pretty good. I'm super proud of myself, though. I was all prepared with Zofran, C-bands, all the medication. I did not need to take anything. And I'm somebody who gets motion sick. So I was really shocked by that. My dad did get sick overnight. He was throwing up, which is really unusual for him. He had a scopolamine patch, but he said that usually he gets like the blurry vision and the dry mouth, and he wasn't getting that at all. When he got a massage, the scopolamine patch came off. So he put another one on, and then he started feeling the eye issue and the dry mouth. So he thinks that maybe the first one he had like wasn't a strong enough dose, or it was a dud or something like that. So, but after he got the second patch on, he was fine.
So what did you guys do on your sea day?
We did a variety of things. I made it to every single bingo session. I'm really proud of myself. Yeah, I really like bingo. I like gambling in general. So, and obviously there's no casinos on Disney cruise ships, which is fine. But if there's an opportunity, I'm going to take advantage. So I did. Violet went to the kids club. We had a sit-down breakfast. I know there is an option between cabanas, the buffet, and a sit-down breakfast. I thought, we're paying for people to serve us. I'm going to the sit-down breakfast. So that's what we did. It was good. We were one of the first people in there. Violet had the Royal Gathering booked, so we did that. Felix, after breakfast, he wanted to relax in the room. Felix's journey on the cruise ship was do a few activities, relax, do a few activities, relax. Devin spent most of the day with him. I know they did basketball a lot. He really liked going up to the basketball thing. I did mini golf with him a few times. They got ice cream and they would go back to the room and relax. They did the kids club, I think once or twice. Violet bounced between the kids club, hanging out with us, doing mini golf or basketball, getting ice cream, back to the kids club, back to the room for a little bit, go to Grandma and Grandpa's room, look out the veranda. I know Devin took her to the pool. My parents and I did bingo and trivia. We did trivia at night. Yeah, we kind of just did a little bit of everything and enjoyed the day.
And then how was your dinner on that second day? Where were you at?
We were at Enchanted Garden. We had Enchanted Garden twice in a row for dinner. And we had lunch at Royal Palace as well. That's where breakfast was. Because again, it's like we can either eat at a buffet or have a sit-down place.
And it's quieter.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. And, with my dad's food allergies, buffets can be tricky, especially with a weird allergy like onion and garlic. It's not like dairy or something like that you can easily avoid. So anyways, yeah, we did a sit-down lunch and a sit-down dinner at Enchanted Garden. Yes.
Did he pre-order his breakfast and lunch with his allergy, or?
The second night he did, because the first night he was at Palo. And then for breakfast and lunch, it was not our normal server team. So that second night dinner he did. Yeah, Enchanted Garden. I don't really remember what we had. Like, I remember in our cruise Facebook group, people were kind of complaining about the food a little bit. I didn't have any issues. I thought it was fine. I did hear that they were testing out some of the European itinerary menus because there were only like 2 cruises left to go before it popped over to Europe for the summer. And there was one night I remember where it was like heavily Mediterranean inspired, and I still thought it was good. Anyways, the other thing that we did that day, I told Devin and my dad, like, hey, thank you for working so hard for us to go on a cruise. I got you this shirt to wear, like special shirt to take pictures. And they're like, oh, okay, that was really nice of you. But, it was the Hawaiian shirt dad prank. It was this like bright pink, obnoxious Mickey Hawaiian shirt, which neither of them would ever wear. Devin was like, pink, really? He was like giving me a hard time. And I said, I just looked it up on Amazon, Disney cruise shirt. This is the first thing that came up. It must be popular. And so, we get in the elevator and we're sitting, there's one guy in the elevator and they're like, oh, nice shirt. And Devin's like, did you buy this at the gift shop or something? I'm like, no, it must be a popular shirt. And slowly, like more and more people started coming in. I think we had like 30 to 40 guys all in the same shirt. It was so funny. It was so funny. The look they gave me was like, really, CJ, really? So we made them wear it to dinner. Devin was like, I don't want to wear this shirt to dinner. I said, just wear it. Like, come on, it's one night only. You can handle this. So yeah, that's what we did. That was fun.
Did the kids love that too?
Felix was confused and he wanted to be in the picture too, but they didn't have a kid's shirt. So he stood there in his black t-shirt in the picture. And Violet was like, they're all wearing the same shirt. Look, over there, over there, over there. She was really into it. It was so funny. It was a highlight for me, honestly.
Oh my God, I love that. I don't know if we had somebody on that has talked about this before. I love it. I love it. I've seen them doing that, and they definitely did it on my Christmas cruise. But the men in our group, well, not my husband, but I also probably wouldn't buy him the shirt. But the men in our group were the ones that are the more like would join the Facebook groups and the more vocal ones. So they couldn't be.
Yeah, my husband and my dad, they're just along for the ride. Yeah. The thing is, I don't know if I'd be able to pull this off in the future. Like, I'd have to come up with some other really believable cover story. So we'll see. We'll see if I can pull it off in the future.
So, and then the show. Did you go to the show that night?
No, the only show we did the whole trip was Golden Mickey's. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we got to bed like kind of early that second night because it was a big day, and we had the beach the next day, and we're the type of people who are like rope dropping, up early, and so we're like we wanted to be one of the first off the ship, so we went to bed early that night.
And then the next day was Lookout.
Yes, Lookout. So just as an aside, my mom recently had knee surgery. She can walk, but, walking the length of the dock is asking a lot. So she had to go, I think it was to Animator's Palette to sign up. Yeah, in the morning to like get on a golf cart. They had plenty of golf carts. We saw them going back and forth all morning, our whole walk down there. Anyways, we had breakfast at Cabanas, which is the buffet, because we wanted to be able to like eat and go. And it was all right. My only complaints about it was the eggs Benedict was cold, which is not good. I took one bite and I said, I'm not eating that. But my kids were happy with the donuts, the Mickey waffles, the eggs, the bacon. Felix had like one plate, like piled high with sausage and bacon. Like he's a meat guy. So he was happy with that. Everybody found something to eat, including my dad. My dad, I think, did like fruit and toast or something. It's a very dad meal. Devin had an excursion. He was doing a snorkeling excursion, which he was supposed to do with his parents. And I said, well, do you still want to do it on your own or what? He's like, yeah, I'd really, like to do it. He loves the ocean, whatever. So Devin went really fast because he wanted to make sure he was at the right spot. My mom went to sign up for the golf cart. So it was me and my dad with the kids. And so I'm carrying like Devin's beach stuff, the kids' beach stuff, my beach stuff. But we got out pretty quickly and we picked a wagon and we pulled the kids. I pulled the kids about halfway and my dad took the other half. And that was really handy. I don't know why I was worried about this, but I guess from what I'd read online, people make it sound like if you don't get there early, you're not getting a wagon. There are plenty of wagons. I don't know why in my head I thought there was like 20. I don't know. There was probably like 100 wagons. There's plenty.
And it could be that there were less at some point. I do remember somebody talking about like maybe arriving later and then there not being a wagon because they hadn't come back yet or something. And who knows, right? You can talk to the cast members or the crew rather and get yourself they're going to try to help you. Obviously, they had to do that walkway for preservation of the...
But I think, given we had all our beach stuff and the kids and it was just me and my dad, it's like, all right, the wagon makes sense.
And it puts them in one spot also. So because there's a lot of traffic.
The reefs.
Yeah, the reefs underneath it and the sea life and all the things. And for able-bodied people, it isn't that big a deal. Like we can do a 10-minute walk. But if you're not, or you have little kids, like that could be, some little kids can do that walk. But it's a walk.
Yeah, Felix could have done it just fine. Violet, when she's bored of walking, not when she's tired, when she's bored of walking, my legs hurt. But then like 5 seconds later, she'll run off to chase a bird, I'm like, okay, your legs don't hurt. You're just bored.
So what did you think of, so you get to the tram, you take the tram over. How did the kids do with all of that?
They were fine. they were like, I want to go to the beach. I want to go to the beach. And I was like, well, wait, we got to take a shuttle to the other beach. Like, I know that there's a beach right here, but this is not where we're going. The issue we ran into, my mom being like the first off the ship, she was way ahead of us and she picked a spot on the beach. And we did not get great reception. And so we're not getting messages from her that often. She's like, I'm all the way down at the end between two lifeguard towers. And we're like, that's not helpful, Mom. There's lifeguard towers everywhere. And then like my dad and I walked all the way to the end, like far, far, far right. I was like, she's not here. And so it turns out she was more in the middle of things, which is fine, but she wasn't even like standing up trying to make herself see us. We were like, Mom, what are you thinking here? But we found her. It was fine. We just wandered the beach for a while. The kids loved playing in the sand. The water, it was kind of chilly that day in the water. I'm sorry, it was kind of windy that day and the water was a little chilly, but the kids didn't seem to care. So
was the water rough?
yes, because it was windy.
I don't think I've ever really seen the water not rough, but
Yeah. The kids only went up to like their waist, which is fine. Like they're not super familiar with the ocean, so I think they're a little worried, but honestly, they had a lot of fun, like digging a hole in the sand and filling it with water and putting their rubber ducky in it and trying to build a castle and whatever. So they had fun playing in the sand. My dad suggested we go to the splash pad area, and I was like, Dad, splash pad with Felix is really hard because he just runs around and we lose him really easily. But he's like, I'll keep an eye on Felix. And I was like, okay, that's on you. All right. And so we stayed there for a little bit and I was trying to convince Violet, like, there's a kids club here with the splash pad, Little Mermaid themed splash pad. She loves Ariel. And she just wanted to go on this one slide over and over. And so eventually I told her, like, okay, 5 more slides, and then we're going to go look at the kids club. And if you want to go there, you can. And so we went over there and she's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And we get there. She's like, I want to go. Well, what do you know? So I left her there for a little bit and I saw that they were actually serving lunch for the kids there. But around lunchtime, I talked to her. I was, do you want to stay here? I want to stay. I don't want to eat lunch with you. I want to stay here. So she stayed until like 1:30, 2-ish. So by the time lunchtime rolled around, Devin was about back from his excursion. Felix was happily playing in the sand next to the beach chairs with my mom and dad. My parents said he did really well that day. He was super focused on building whatever he was building. So I went to go pick up Devin from the shuttle stop, and we were pretty hungry, and Felix was really excited to see him. I will say Felix kind of had a hard time before that. I think he was missing Devin pretty bad. But also, like, the beach was kind of loud and busy. And he kept asking to go back to the room. I said, we're not going to go back to the room. Like, we can go take a walk to someplace quiet. And we walked by the gift shop and he saw that little, like, Disney cruise boat sand toy thing. He's like, I want that. I want that. I said, okay, this is your one souvenir you're getting. And he played with it on the beach with my parents while I went to go get Devin. And he played with it the next day at Castaway. So it turned out to be a good purchase. But anyways, I picked up Devin and then we picked up Felix and then the 3 of us went to go get lunch. The lunch lines were really long. It took a long time. I was really surprised. It was a long wait. My dad had to go to a special place to pick up his meal, so his was really fast. And my mom had her like walking sticks because she's a little nervous about like falling over, people bumping into her. And some cast members saw her and like pulled her out of line to go to the front. So she didn't have to wait long. So it was just me, Devin, and Felix that waited a while. The food was fine. I saw some people online saying they liked the food at Lookout and Castaway better than the ship. And I would like disagree with that. Like it was definitely like beach food. It reminded me of growing up in Southern California, what we would barbecue on the beach at a bonfire. Like that's what it reminded me of. So that was like kind of nostalgic, I guess, in that way for me. After lunch, I saw that there was like a nature trail kind of thing, and I wanted to go walk down that. So I went by myself. Devin and Felix went to the beach to play together because they didn't really have time to play together. And I'm really proud of myself. I walked in the water for a little bit. I'm terrified of the ocean, legit terrified of the ocean. That's a true phobia of mine. So it's hard for me to get in the water. But I took a couple of steps in so I could climb up onto a rock and like see this cave kind of thing. It was really cool.
So is that all the way to the right on the beach?
Yes. It was really pretty. And I think had I gone earlier when the tide was lower, I probably could have gone further. I only went around like one corner. It was starting to look a little dangerous. I didn't want to get like beat against a rock. But it was really pretty and worth the walk. Yeah.
And that area, not all the way down there, but that far right of the beach, like in front of the last bar that's over there, is a really nice area to be, especially if you need it to be quieter at the beach. So that might be a good location for you guys the next time if you go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's much less people.
Yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to be. But with my mom and her mobility issues, she just like picked a spot and whatever. So after my walk, my dad had started texting me like, hey, it's starting to rain over here. Like, it's getting really windy. We can see the clouds coming in. So I was like, all right, I'll go pick up Violet. We'll go pack up from the beach and head out because beach in the rain with kids is like an absolute no-go. So I picked her up really quick, ran down to the water. She wanted to play in the water with Devin for like 5 or 10 minutes. And I said, look, it's starting to rain. Like, we got to go. So we packed up and headed out of there. And Felix pulled Violet the entire way back in the wagon. It was so cute. He sits her down and goes, remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside. And supervise your children. Like, he did the whole spiel. It was so cute. And then he was walking like really close to the edge and he was like, look, Violet, do you see the ocean? Do you see any fish out there? What do you see? Like showing her everything. It was super cute. So when we got back on the ship, we cleaned up a little bit. I checked Violet into the kids club and my parents and I did bingo. And then after that, we picked Violet up and it was time for dinner. And it was pirate night. So we had to dress for pirate night.
Did the kids like that?
I think Violet did. I got her like a little pirate dress from Amazon and Felix wore a striped shirt and Devin and I wore striped shirts and he saw Devin put the bandana around his neck and he's like, oh, I want that too. So he was just copying Dad, you know. My parents' outfits were really good. The food was really good that night and it was fun. Violet kept saying, arg, arg. But honestly, after a full day at the beach, we were so tired. After dinner, I think my parents and I did trivia and then we all went to bed. Like we were so tired.
Okay, so no deck parties.
No. That's the one thing I noticed is a lot of the stuff was taking place so late during the day. And that's really hard for little kids.
For sure. I totally get that. And we used to have earlier bedtimes too when my kid was younger. Yeah, some of those later times was difficult.
Yeah. I think had we been coming from a different time zone, we might have been able to make it work. And I understand that for people coming from the Midwest or the West Coast or something. It was hard on us. We didn't want to interrupt their schedules too much, since we had to go back home to real life after this. So,
well, and it oftentimes makes them handle everything better too, if they can follow. I mean, unless you have a kid that just adjusts, because mine did not ever. So
no, we pretty much kept the same routine. We'd go home or go to the hotel room, watch Wally, make sure everybody has their teeth brushed, pajamas on, go to the bathroom, go to bed. And when Wally's done, we turn off the lights, turn off the TV, go to sleep. So we kept our home schedule and that worked well for all of us.
So then the next day was Castaway.
Yes. And it was a lucky day for us. We had a cabana, which I'll get to in a minute. We ate breakfast at cabanas and my kids, they knew what to expect now because we had spent the previous day at Lookout. So they were like, okay, we're going to play in the sand all day. They kind of knew what was coming. Nobody had any excursions booked that day except me and my dad did the 5K, which you don't have to sign up for. You just walk up and do. So we had breakfast at cabanas and Violet was so anxious to get off the ship. She was like, Grandma and Grandpa are late. Where are they? She was ready for them to eat with us. That was also the day they had churro Mickey waffles and I had heard about those and let me tell you, as a former Disneyland girl, they tasted a lot like the Disneyland churros. Much better than the Disney World churros. That's probably the closest I've come to Disneyland churros since moving out here. They were so good. Anyways, we were not the first off the ship. While we were eating breakfast, we chose to eat outside so we could look at the island while we were eating. And people were walking off while we were eating. But what had happened was they cleared everything early. So people were getting off early. But once we got off, we waited a few minutes for a shuttle. We had to get the little wristbands for the cabana. And then we took the shuttle to the second stop. And then the cabana people get free snorkel gear. So you had to go pick that up. And then the golf cart took us directly to the cabana where we checked in. And it was, oh my gosh, the cabana, 100% worth it. We were in cabana number 4. So it wasn't too far from the restaurant. It was like a 5-minute walk to the bathroom and to the restaurant. But what was really nice about the cabana is not only having your own space to chill, but the beach was just for cabana guests. And given Felix's issues and being a little restless on the crowded beach at Lookout, this was really, really, really good for him. And like my favorite day of the cruise by far.
And the water is much calmer. And so they can play in it without people necessarily needing to be with them as close and things like that.
But that day was the first day in years that I only had one worry about Felix. And that worry was swim safety. And even then, it wasn't that big of a concern because, like you said, the water was calm and it wasn't that deep either.
Right.
So Devin and I sat on beach chairs like far back from them and just watched them play and enjoyed that. And we weren't worried about like, don't run away, don't bother other people, like don't hit anybody, like don't act crazy. Like there was literally no worries about that. So to have that peace of mind for the first time in literally years, like I realized the weight of all the worry that I've been carrying around for so long. And I just got to relax. And like that alone made the cabana worth it for us. That and, my dad and I did the 5Ks. We had a private place to change when we came back. And my parents had told the concierge team, like, oh, my daughter really likes Diet Coke. Like she's going to drink all the Diet Coke. They had unpacked a 12-pack of Diet Coke for us in the cabana. My mom and I drank 4 each, okay? Like, if it's there, we're going to drink it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that was really cool. Another really funny moment, there's a tablet in there that you can use to say, like, hey, I need more towels, I need more snacks. They had, like, chips and granola bars and a fruit plate for us. But you can also change the music. And my mom and I had selected Hawaiian music, and I was on Hawaiian music like all day. And we were just sitting in there like talking about like, wow, what a great day this is. Like we're so relaxed. Like the music is so nice. Like this is perfect. Awesome vacation. Anyways, the cabana was perfect. I would 100% get a cabana again.
That's so great.
Mm-hmm.
They're just so relaxing.
Yes.
It's just such a different day.
The only issue we ran into, and really this was like the biggest issue of the cruise, and like it's Disney's fault, yes, but also not really surprising. They lost all the allergy orders. Something happened. Yeah, something happened in the computer system where all the allergy orders went away. So they had told my dad, like, we'll bring you your food between 12 and 12:30. Or me and my mom got food for the kids. Devin went and got his own food, and we brought all our food back. We're eating. We're done eating by 12:30. And we're like, okay, Dad's food anytime now. And so, we had called and paged and whatever. And at 1:00, somebody shows up and they're like, I'm so sorry. Like, this is what happened. Like, what is it that you ordered? They're like cross-referencing papers and stuff. He didn't get his food till like 1:30. So I felt kind of bad, but we also had like chips and granola bars and a fruit basket. Like he had enough sustenance, and he's not really like that big of an eater anyways. In fact, like he ordered salmon. He's like, Felix, you want some of my salmon? I'm like, Dad, your food showed up so late and you're giving it away. Like, you must not be that hungry. But also one of our servers showed up. He knew we were in Cabana 4. So he checked in with us and he kind of like expedited things. He's like, no, this is not okay. Da, da, da. And the last night at dinner, the manager of the restaurant or the dining team or something came by and he said, I heard what happened at the cabana. I'm so sorry. I take full responsibility for that. That should not happen. He profusely apologized. And my parents are pretty easygoing and they're like, if it's the only like mistake of the whole cruise, then that's okay. Like, it's not a big deal. He's like, are you sure? I can send up a fruit basket, a bottle of champagne, whatever you guys want. They're like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Like, mistakes happen. It's okay. They did apologize for that mistake.
I love that Disney at least tried to just wanted to make sure that your parents felt okay about everything.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents are not like vindictive people. Like, they understand that things happen and it is what it is,
So sadly, your beach day is over and you're getting to the end of your cruise.
Yeah, so we went back because we wanted to go to bingo again because it was the $10,000 night. Like, I had to go back. So there were 2 bingo games that night. One of them was earlier, which my dad won on Blackout for $270. The last one was $10,000. And the way it works is there's 4 games. The 4th game is always Blackout. And if you get it in 46 numbers or less, you win the whole jackpot, which is really hard to do. On one of the nights, I think it was for $2,500. There was one person who was 1 number away at 44 numbers too. So she had 2 chances, we were all rooting for her, but she didn't get it. So the night of the $10,000 jackpot, I was 1 number away. And when you're 1 number away, you stand up so they know to look for you. The guy who won it, they like drop down the dollar amount every subsequent number. He ended up winning $2,600. So I was one number away from 2,600, which was, that felt kind of good, but also like, darn, I wish it would have been me. But yeah, my dad was the only winner, $270, which is, better than a kick in the pants. What they do is they apply it to your room, essentially, to pay off anything that you have there. Anyways, yeah, so we got off the ship. My parents and I went to bingo. I think Felix went with us. Felix went with us a couple times to bingo.
How much does bingo cost? Do you know I have never played bingo in my 30, I have played bingo, but not on a Disney cruise. In my 30-some Disney cruises, I have never paid for bingo card.
Okay, so it depends what you do. They have like the traditional ones that you mark off by yourself, which is pretty cheap. I want to say it was like $20 or something. And then they have the electronic tablet, which is like $40. But the electronic tablet, you get like, I don't remember if it was 16 chances to win or something, but you don't have to do anything. It like pushes everything for you. It tells you when you're close, whatever. So that's what I kept doing. I kept doing the $40 because it was like so many chances to win. If you want a more traditional bingo experience, do the paper ones so you can mark it off yourself. It was fun. I enjoy bingo. Just for some background, when my grandpa on my dad's side retired, they moved to Wyoming, and there's not a lot to do in Wyoming. So whenever we visited my grandma and grandpa, we'd go play bingo because that's what my grandma does twice a week. So like from 10 years old to, early 20s, we'd go out there, once or twice a year and play bingo.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why we kept going. It's just fun. So dinner that night was again at Enchanted Garden. That was the 2 nights in a row that we did in Enchanted Garden. That I'm pretty sure was the Mediterranean night, I think. It was good. It was good. No complaints. Solid meal. There was one night, I don't remember if it was the very last night or that night, where my mom and I both ordered this like lobster pasta. And our waiter was like, pick something as a backup option. And we said, why? And he goes, we get a lot of complaints about that dish. I said, okay. So I picked lamb as the backup, and, they brought out both. Like, it was fine. It was just a lot of pasta, and the lobster flavor was very strong. I think it would have worked better as an appetizer with a small amount of pasta with some lobster with it. I ate about half of it, and I was like, this is very lobstery. I need to switch to my lamb. But it was good. I just think a smaller portion would have been better. Yeah, and then, we kind of did our usual thing. That was the night that Violet had her Bippity Boppity Boutique makeover. We wanted to do something special for her because, like, throughout her life, she has put up with a lot of stuff for Felix. She's the tag along in the car when we're driving to therapy. Like, she puts up with a lot of crap from our son. And that's putting it very bluntly. Like, there's a lot of meltdowns that she deals with. She doesn't get to do things because of how he is, whatever. So this was her special thing. And I had brought a few princess dresses from home. I always hit up Goodwill and see if I can get some discount princess dresses. And it works. I find some good ones. And she chose to dress as Anna from Frozen. I was able to move our time because our time originally was 5:00, which was going to interrupt dinner. And so I talked to guest services and they pushed it back to like 7:30, 7:45. So we were able to do dinner and then basically go straight to that. My parents offered to watch Felix for us so that Devin could come and watch her do the makeover too. So they just stayed in the room with him and watched Wall-E and ate ice cream or something. So anyways, she picked, since she had a dress, we just did the basic package. So she got a t-shirt, a sash, and she got to do hair, makeup, and nails. So they have a little like menu of hairstyles. She picked the bun with the tiara. So they were really patient with her. She has a lot of hair and it's hard to brush, but they were super patient with her and they did her hair really well. And then she had her nail polish done and her makeup done. And then they turned her around and she was like, oh, she looked at herself in the mirror. We were like, you're so beautiful, Violet. You look so great. And then she wanted to take some pictures like around the area. And it was I think it was Minnie Mouse was meeting like right outside of Bippity. And we missed the line, but they were like, if you wait right here, she'll walk right by. So Minnie walked by and did a little twirl with her and walked on. Tiana was downstairs with no wait, like nobody around. So we took a picture with Tiana, took some pictures on the stairs. And then she was pretty tired, but she wanted to show Grandma and Grandpa her outfit. So went back to the room and did a little fashion show. And then we went to bed.
Did her bun hold up the next day?
It did. It lasted until Sunday, actually. So we had it Thursday night, all day Friday. Saturday night, it was starting to get a little raggedy. And then Sunday morning, the kids were playing around and she like jumped around too much. And that was that. That's kind of why we wanted it at the end, because we knew if we were going to the beach, it would just get undone immediately. But, we were going back home to like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're just going to be chilling at home. Might as well let her enjoy the princess hair.
Has she put her tiara tiara on again?
No, she's asked for it, but I kind of suck at doing hair. So I'm like, why don't you wear this headband tiara instead, But she's due for her first haircut, so I'm kind of, waiting to see if I can finagle something with her hair when it's shorter and a little more.
Wait, she hasn't had a haircut yet?
No.
Are you going to take her to the Magic Kingdom?
Yes, and I'm actively stalking the app for a reservation that works with our schedule.
Do you remember how much Bibbidi Bobbidi cost without the dress?
I don't remember. I just said, charge it to the room. I'm not going to look at this. Here's my magic band. I had decided we were doing it regardless of cost. So
yeah, no, I mean, it's special.
Yeah. She's only a little girl once and she's going to outgrow this thing. So, maybe in a couple of years we'll do it again for her birthday or something. So,
do you feel like there's anything you missed doing on the ship that you want to do for next time?
Yes, I would like to see more of the shows, and I think that'll get easier as our kids get older. I want to do the pirate party thing at some point, but again, that's once the kids get older, it'll be easier. I did not do the aqueduct, and I had Violet in line for it, and she kind of chickened out. But I did watch her go down the little Mickey hand slide like 20 times in a row, and she loved that. You know what? I remember when I sailed in 2000, we were on the Wonder, and I remember doing that over and over and over again. The only other thing I wanted to do that we didn't get to was Midship Detective Agency. I really wanted to do that. We just didn't have time, but that'll still be there in the future. Would it have been nice to do the adults only area? Yes, but I also knew, given Felix, I don't know if that was going to happen anyways. I count those kind of things as a bonus. Like a massage would have been a bonus. Rainforest would have been a bonus. So some of those bonus things I didn't get to do, but I wasn't expecting to do them anyways, and I didn't make time to do them. So I'm okay with that. As the kids get older, I'm sure the things that I wanted to do that we missed, we'll be able to do. So I'm not like disappointed or anything. We had a great time and it was a really great experience overall.
Did you guys get the photo package?
I was going to, and then I didn't realize you needed to book it 3 days in advance to get the cheaper photo package. So we ended up not doing it. And we didn't take that many pictures on the ship. We're not super big character people. So, and that's where a lot of the photographers were. We just used our phone to take pictures and that was fine. So that saved us a couple $100. So I'm okay with that. Had we been on a really long cruise or something, maybe we would have done it, but I'm okay with what we did.
So for future cruises, you could buy the photo package in advance and then you can cancel it on the ship if you didn't get enough pictures. The other option is they do have like a 10 photo package and like a 15 photo package where you can just pay for the individual. You could just buy one photo too, but for some photos. So that's just something that you could do. Did you have any notable cast interactions with anybody on the ship during your cruise?
Our our server team was fantastic. Nishant was his name. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. He's from India. And Kruno was the assistant server. And actually, we had an issue with the gratuities. Me and my parents both did. They give you that sheet with everybody's name on it. It had the wrong name for assistant server. It had somebody else's name. I looked at it. I'm like, that's not right. So I had to go down to guest services and they looked up the name of our assistant server and showed me the picture. They're like, is it this guy? I said, yeah, that's our assistant server. So we were not able to hand off the envelope because they didn't print out a new one for us in time. But, I double checked that it was going to go to the right person and they said yes. The name on the sheet, the wrong name, we were looking for that person and all she was doing was bringing food from the kitchen to the little serving area. She didn't do anything else. She got ketchup for Violet once. That was it. Versus Kruno, he made sure, he took our drink orders. I ordered wine a couple nights. He brought the wine out to me and, made recommendations. He knew the kids by name. He was, the breadcrumb sweeper guy. He served our food. He helped us with stuff way more than this other lady did. But then we were like, well, maybe she was supposed to be the assistant server and she just sucked at her job, but...
That is interesting. Or maybe somebody was in training and there was...
I don't know, but we made sure that Kruno got the tip because he was really, really good. And I know you're a tennis person. I ordered wine, and when you order alcohol, they make you sign the receipt or whatever. I looked at his last name. It was a famous tennis last name, and he was from Croatia. And I asked him, do you happen to have tennis players in your family? And he said, you're only the second person to ever ask me that and only the first person on Disney Cruise. And the answer is yes. And I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't press him too far because it was kind of a big name and I recognized it. So we talked about tennis for a little bit. And when I got home to internet, I looked up the name because I recognized the name, but I couldn't quite place it. Whoever he's related to coached Novak Djokovic for 5 years. So I was like, okay, yeah, he's like big in the tennis community here. So that was kind of cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, long story, our server team, especially, I would give a special shout out to Kruno, and Nishant did a really good job taking care of my dad's allergies. And he stopped by at our cabana and talked to us for a little bit. So
are there any tips that you wish you would have known before the cruise?
I don't think so. I felt pretty well prepared for everything. I wish I had known how relaxing the cabana was going to be, because when my in-laws canceled, we were kind of like on the fence, like, do we keep the cabana? Do we not? We opted to keep it, and I'm really glad that we did. Devin was like, I don't think it's worth the money, blah, 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 blah. I'm just really glad that we did. Other than that, I don't know that I have any like must-know tips. Guest services did give me a really good tip. I asked them the night before, I said, we're not checking any bags to leave. We're going to carry them off. Like, do you recommend us carrying our bags down to breakfast? And they said yes, because the elevators are going to get crowded. And honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. We packed everything up, went down to breakfast right away. Our bags were stored outside. We ate pretty quickly. And my parents had like early departure because of concierge or whatever. We got off the ship the same time that they did. Like, it was so easy. So I'd 100% do that in the future. If I was not a local and I had to catch a late flight or something, sure, I might take my time getting off the ship. But for us, that seemed to work really well, and it wasn't that bad.
And then you did the long, boring drive home.
Yes, we did. We had to stop 3 times for the bathroom and snacks, which kind of sucks because it's only like a 3.5 hour drive. I was like, this is taking forever. Just get home.
So what's next for you? You guys going to cruise again?
Yes, we booked a placeholder. My husband doesn't know it, but yes, we are going to cruise again.
What did he think? Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Okay, so he's not a Disney guy. He's just, he's along for the ride. He'll go because I go. And actually, I don't think we're going to renew his pass this year because he just doesn't go very often. But I asked him on our last night, I said, what would you rate this vacation on a scale of 1 to 10? And he gave it a 9. So that's really, really high for him. I was expecting like a 6 or a 7 from him, because I know that he had a good time, but he's not a Disney person. So that knocks it down a few notches. I think he saw the advantage of Violet having her own things to do without us. Felix had a good mix of like relaxing stuff to do, go to the beach. Like, it was enough to keep him occupied, not having to worry about like ordering whatever you want on the menu. And he really loved the snorkeling too. So he got to do a little bit of everything he liked to do. We did a pretty good job of like trading off kids when we weren't all together. Like, he took Violet. I don't really like pools that much. So he took Violet to the pool while I hung out with Felix in the room. So we got to spend, one-on-one quality time with each kid, a little bit of time together, just the 2 of us, and family together, all 4 of us and all 6 of us. So I think he saw the benefits of a vacation like that, where you're not tied to one destination, one city. There's a lot of different things for you to do, and you're going to a different destination every day, kind of thing. I think that worked well for a child's ADHD brain. They didn't get bored at all, really. So that was good. I think he had a really good time. And the day that we got home that night, I started looking up cruises. I was like, look at this one, and we get the 10% off. Da, da. He's like, it's too early. Don't talk to me about this yet. Like, give me a couple weeks. So I've already been researching. So we don't have anything set in stone just yet, but we do have a staycation with my parents. They have a Hilton timeshare. So we're doing like a 3-bedroom week with them at one of the Hiltons around here. We're talking about a road trip to Tennessee next spring so we can go to In-N-Out, because that's the closest one now. Other than that, that's it. We have a lot coming up, a lot of things that, Felix was in therapy for so long, we put off for a long time, and we're kind of just like knocking out a bunch of things. So I'm excited, but yes, a cruise will be in our future, hopefully about a year from now.
And you have an Instagram page where you share going into the park and your nights when you go to the parks by yourself, and then your son's
his issues, all of his things. Yes, you can find me on Instagram at The Weekly Mouse.
Well, thank you for coming on. Really appreciated recapping this trip with you. If you would like to find me on the internet, you can do so at Pack Your Pixie Dust on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you would like to follow Lake, you can find him at MouseGen on YouTube and Instagram. And you can follow the podcast, DCL Podcast, at all of the places, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as well. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for listening to the DCL Podcast. Until next time, thank you, everyone.
Well, that's going to wrap up the show. Once again, we want to thank CJ for coming on and sharing her family's adventure on the Disney Dream. If you're enjoying the show, we greatly appreciate you leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We'd also like to thank our Patreons who help make this show happen each and every week for us. You too can help support the show by visiting us at patreon.com/DCL Podcast. Whether you're boarding a cruise, enjoying a trip to the parks, or adventuring outside of Disney, on behalf of myself, Christy, and Steve, we want to wish you smooth sailing and safe travels. We'll see you next time on the DCL Podcast.
The DCL Podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.